All right, we should be live. Chad, let me hear you real quick.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Hello,
Jess,
hello.
Jess, let me hear you real quick.
I'm still here.
Okay, you sound okay. All right, guys, we got Memphis Mafia on the show tonight talking about Wherigos. You want to give us a call? Talk about Wherigos, whether you love them and or hate them. You can be both. I don't judge. You just call 808-468-7924, 808-GOT-SWAG. You know the phone number. Give us a call. Let's talk to Memphis. Tell him how much you love Wherigos, because he does. You tell him what you think of his Wherigo obsession.
Uh-oh.
All right, here we go. Chad, you ready, sir?
I'm ready.
All right, okay. Jess, I'm going to throw you on mute. All right, here we go. Chad, in 3, 2, 1.
You want to know how to find it. Seek it out when they hide it. You know it's in the bag when it's an easy grab. But come on, take a chance now. So go, geocache, geocache. If you need help, we're right there in a flash. If you got a question, just call in and ask. Uncover the stash on the Geocaching Podcast. The Geocaching Podcast.
Welcome, everyone. It's Wednesday. It's 8:30, which means it is once again time for the Geocaching Podcast. My name is Scott Burks. We have our co-host Shorted. It's out on assignment tonight. But please welcome to my virtual left, my other co-host, Chaz 427.
Howdy, y'all. It's time for a ride on the Wherigo round.
The Where I Go Round. Okay.
The Wherigo round.
How long did it take you to come? How long have you been sitting on that one, Chad?
You know, there wasn't much that I could come up with, so
You
I was
popped
like,
Jesse on that one. How long have you been sitting on that one?
I was sitting on that for a while.
Wow. Jesse's totally stealing that one. Tonight's episode 769, recorded live on May 31, 2023, is Where I Goes Convince Us. Phone lines are open. Just give us a call, 808-468-7924. That's 808-GOT-SWAG. And for you international callers, hey, you can call us free via the web at callinstudio.com/show/GCPC. But first, Chad, we got to talk about Patreon.
Got to pay those bills.
That's right, guys. This costs a lot of money to make this show work, I promise. And there's 2 ways you could help us out. You can go to paypal.me, that's paypal.me/the Geocaching Podcast. You make that one-time donation, or, Chad, you join Patreon. You get extra audio, extra video, only available to our Patreon members. You know, I'm going to, Chad, Geoclash this weekend. I'm leaving tomorrow.
Are you?
Leaving tomorrow. I've got the trophy packed in the car, Chad. I won the Buckeye Trophy last year.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
us out of towners are going to defend it this year. We gotta
so you gotta go take it back so that you
I
can
gotta
get
take it back so I
your
can bring
name
it back.
slapped on there again.
Let them put my name on it again, and I'll bring it home.
That's right.
I'll put it on my back of my mantle for another year. Guys, you join Patreon to get, and so my point being is that, like, I'm taking the camera, gonna get a lot of video of this.
Awesome.
I'm looking forward to all the cool caches out there. Guys, extra video, extra audio, only available to our Patreon members. We got stickers and coins and path tags and pins and what else we got, Chad?
End of the year
giveaway show. Guys, we give crap away at the end of the year. I'm a patron only show. You can't go
Not crap. Geocaching stuff.
Give geocaching swag. How's that?
Swag.
And patron only shows. We get all that good stuff. Guys, you want to become a patron? Like, what is it? Whidbey Island gal out of Coopville, Washington, knuckled up to the bar and said, yes,
Awesome.
I want all that free good stuff. So she gets it.
Mm-hmm.
She knuckled up. She's a gold star, Chad. Gold star, our favorites.
Awesome.
Love those gold stars. So you want to be like Whidbey Island gal? Whidbey. Chad, look up Whidbey Island. I'm curious what that is.
It's the island
No.
that's kind of like northwest of Seattle.
So she literally lives on an island?
Oh yeah.
She's pulling a Gilligan on us? Is that what she's doing?
I guess. I don't think it's quite a Gilligan, so it's
Well, yeah, I don't think she's using coconuts as a phone, but no.
Right.
But she's actually like living on an island.
I don't think the professor and Marianne and Skipper live there. So
no. All right.
No.
Guys, you want to join Whidbey Island gal? You can. You go to patreon.com. That's patreon.com/the Geocaching Podcast.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Tonight's show is brought to you by Cachly. Cachly is an advanced geocaching app for iOS. It features powerful online and offline features, including filtered searches, offline maps, and offline saving of caches. Cachly has hundreds of advanced features that will make your geocaching experience just that much better. Get more info at Cachly.com. That's CACHLY.com.
Tonight, we're also sponsored by Logwork. Logwork are the creators of the fantastic logbook, made with genuine Write in the Rain paper. The logbook designed for the micro containers of the present and future, geared towards the hider who would rather go cache and do cache maintenance. Find them at logwork.com. That's LOGWERK.com.
It's also brought to you by FTF Geocacher Magazine. FTF Geocacher is the magazine for geocachers written by geocachers. With 6 issues a year, FTF offers practical advice, hints and tips, cacher bios and milestones, geocaching events, trail tales, and all things geo-related. Find them at ftfgeocacher.com.
And by Max Suds Body Company. Max Suds Body Company makes handmade bath and body products from all natural oils and butters. Items such as Poison Me Gone soap, itch spray, and 2-cent choices of bug spray are all great for outdoor enthusiasts like geocachers. At Max Suds Body, we have you covered from head to toe. Find them at maxsudsbody.com. That's MACSUDSBODY.com.
And by Practical Geocaching. Practical Geocaching sells utility items for geocaching. Our items are made in the USA, and we always provide free shipping. Find them at practicalgeocaching.com. That's PRACTICAL geocaching.com.
And by Arted Crafted. Arted Crafted creates unique geocaching themed tees and custom designs for you or your geocaching group. With adult sizes ranging from small to 5XL. If you have an idea for a shirt design and can't find it, guess what? You've come to the right place. Give them the opportunity to show you how they can enhance your caching experience with your own custom design. Visit them at artedcrafted.com. That's ARTEDCRAFTED.com.
And by pattags.com for all your swag and pat tag needs. Visit our website to get creative help, to trade or log tags, or to purchase your own personalized pat tags. With over 48,000 tags to collect, pattags.com is everything you need to start your pat tag obsession. Visit them at pattags.com. That's PATHTAGS.com.
And by Geocaching Adventures LLC. Geocaching Adventures is a full-service travel agency specializing in creating the ultimate worldwide geocaching adventure for cachers and non-cachers alike. What could be better than having your geocaching bucket list vacation all planned and led by a traveling expert? Learn more by visiting us at geocachingadventuresllc.com. That's geocachingadventuresllc.com.
And finally, by GeoGo. Go caching with GeoGo, the geocaching app for Android that includes a Wherigos player, trackable scanner, companion watch app, and county finds database. If you are an advanced geocacher, GeoGo helps with powerful features like nearby cache notifications, optimized routes, offline mode, bulk TB logging, and much, much more. Learn more by visiting them at GeoGo. That's GEOOH-GO.com.
I don't think you ever read that. That's always been Jesse's, hasn't it?
I've read it a few times when they first came on, but yeah.
You guys, you understand, if we don't read this stuff, we're literally reading it for the first time ever.
It's like we hear it, but you know, when you're actually saying the words in sequence,
yeah,
you know, you get tripped up a little bit.
And as always, Chad, you can find links to our sponsors on our website or
in our show notes.
Chad. Guys, tonight, Jesse, our Jesse Shorty, on vacation. Well, not on vacation, actually. She's out on assignment, but I will be with her. She's meeting me in Ohio tomorrow, so she's on her way there. But we do have another Jesse tonight. We've got Memphis Mafia, Jesse, all the way from Florida, and the call. Hello, Jesse. How are you, sir?
Oh, very good. It's good to be the backup Jesse.
The backup Jesse.
Yeah, I'm the consolation Jesse, I guess, maybe.
The bearded Jesse, as the chat room likes to say.
Hey, it's first day of summer vacation. I'm going to grow this joker out all summer long.
Are you really?
I am. Well, I say that now, and I probably won't.
Didn't you COVID that thing long?
I did. It was terrible.
It was bushy, yeah.
The hair and the beard, I grew it out during COVID until it was like long enough to like ponytail. It was terrible. Luckily, there was nobody to see it because we were all shut down. So it didn't matter.
Yeah, sure. All right, so we got Jesse on the show tonight, talking about Wherigos. Jesse is a Wherigos, I'll dare say, expert on it. I don't know if you are, but
yeah, definitely expert. He's probably the foremost expert in.
If you could build it, you're an expert, dude. That's what I say, because I can't even do that. So we got Jesse on the show tonight. Before we get to Jesse, give us 1 second, buddy. We got a couple of emails to talk about here. So we got Lazarius Long talking about last week's show. He says, I didn't realize so many people were worried about adventure labs and negatively affecting their count total. Probably because I don't care about my count. What about the possibility of having the option to toggle on or off labs counting towards your total fine count? That's an interesting idea. They don't affect any other stat, county, countries, states, DT, your etc. So the only thing that would be affected is if they are tallying up with your other fine types or not. Let me know if you think this would be a feasible idea or not. I think it's not a bad idea. What do you think of this, Chad and or Jesse? You think
Well, I
giving the option to
I
pull
think
it out?
for the official fine count, I don't think they're ever going to separate it.
No.
But it's pretty easy to extract that out. So and just say your fine count is whatever, and so and you can build your own profile pages, and there's a bunch of different apps out there that
Can Project GC get it out?
Project GC used to. I don't know if they do or not still. But yeah,
they're impossible though.
No, it's not impossible.
You have the on the geocache fines side, the left side of it, you've got benchmarks on there, which don't count towards the total, yet it's still listed. So I would think you'd be able to do a filter in some way.
On the actual site or on a third party like Project GC?
I guess a third party can do whatever they want to do with it, but on the actual geocaching.com site, you still have your benchmarks listed under the cache fine, under the caches, but it doesn't affect your total.
Right. Yes.
So it seems like you could filter that out and it can still not really mess up the whole dashboard.
Yeah. So Jesse, what he's referring to is last week we had Brian Roth on the show. I don't know if you watched it or not. And we were talking about how fine counts have jumped because of Adventure Labs. Now, they're so skewed now because you can get 5 in 5 minutes. You can get 5 sitting right there. Bing, 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 bing. So fine counts have astronomically risen. And is that a good thing or a bad thing? What's your take on that? What do you think? Do you think that's happened? And what's your take on that with Adventure Labs?
So it's definitely happened as far as people. I looked at it earlier and I have almost 1,000 labs just because of going to megas and stuff. Right. So that definitely skews your stats. However, on the other side of it, I also don't care. I don't care what anybody else, because I'm not in the running for like most cache fines.
Is there a running for that? Is there like
there's those top end people that are like 200,000+. Like,
oh yeah,
right.
I don't care about that, and I never will. Right? It's, to me, I think my stats there's funny things about stats, but I kind of play a little looser, so I don't really care.
Right.
People are really strict, and like everybody talks about it. There's like cheater groups and people who are pointing at other people. Well, they did this.
Oh yeah.
I don't care about any of that stuff. I just play and have fun, and for me, it's a game, and I don't care if my stats show one thing or another. I don't even care about that. So
fair enough.
I can see how it would make people mad that are really, really into stats, because some people are really into that stuff.
Sure.
Right.
Me, I'm having fun, and
yeah,
I already know my fine count's not right. I forget to log caches. I'm terrible about it, so I don't even care. Now, not like 1,000. I don't forget to log 1,000.
Right.
But is it probably off by 25, 30? Over 12,000 caches? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. So I can see both sides of that. I don't personally care, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know there's a number that I haven't logged, including an event that remember when 614 Buckeye called back and was talking about the event that I was there at. I didn't log that event. I was there at that event. I went back and read the notes and stuff. I was like, oh yeah, the bubble party in the park. My son was actually there with me because he was trying to do something for his EMT class, one of his EMT classes, and he was taking blood pressure and vital statistics of individuals and stuff who would voluntarily do it because he needed to do it for some project. And that was about 2 years ago. But yeah, I was definitely there, but I didn't log it. And it's like, oops, I forgot. And if I forget, it's like I'm not going back and logging it.
No, not now. It was years ago, wasn't it?
Right. Well, it was a couple of years ago, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we got one more email from Brian Roth, of all people. Brian Roth writes us and he says, I made a mistake. Adventure Labs fines don't count towards available favorite points. Apparently he thought it did. Our team at HQ let me know I was mistaken.
Yeah.
And the chat room was like, no, they don't. And he's like, yes, they do. And they're like, oh, no, they don't.
No.
No, they don't. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So
minor details. You know,
Minor
Yeah.
Okay.
okay, so tonight's show is give us a call if you want to talk about it. Wherigos convince us. This is why we got Memphis Mafia on the show tonight. So we got two. I'm going to get in this real quick before we start the show. I got 2 emails. Okay, one a positive and one a negative. Okay, so I'm going to read them both before we got one from JR and Juju. If you email me stuff, guys, I'm going to put your name in there. JR and Juju says, after watching your Jess, Memphis Mafia's show on making Play Anywhere Wherigos on the Geocache Talk podcast, I put out 5 of them.
Nice.
I recommend the podcast to anyone who wants to make a Wherigo. I also use this template to make a true reverse Wherigo, not one that has to have the 3 sets of numbers entered. So, Jess, what number? Do you know what on top of your head which show that was? The Play Anywhere Wherigos?
Gosh, no, it's been years. We did it a few years ago, and we even put on the website for a while just some sample cartridges that people could just have, download them and play with it. And I don't remember what they were. It was like the Play Anywhere, and maybe the one with the bridge where you go back across and with the wolf and the duck or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's been a few years. It's been a couple years at least.
Can somebody just go to search for Play Anywhere Wherigos and get the show if they want to watch it on your site? Is there a search?
Yeah, there should be a searchable. It should be searchable on the website, and I would think, I don't know, they don't do numbers as the same as we used to on YouTube, but or is it app? Yeah, the podcast don't do the numbers same, but I think on the website you can just search and it'll because there's show notes.
Yeah, and links.
List on the website. Yeah,
sure it does that. All right. And then GMRKY says no convincing required. Look at the placement stats. Wherigos are moribund. I'd look up moribund. You know what that means?
Sounds like it's a moratorium, a takeoff of a moratorium.
No, it means like they're dying.
Yeah.
I prefer facts to rhetoric any day. So there's your 2 sides of the coin.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Wherigos.
Well, first of all, I have to say that Brian has told me personally Wherigos are going nowhere.
Okay.
So they're going to stay around because I think he likes them. So, of course, he also told you there's favorite points on labs. So maybe we'll see what happens. But no, I'm just messing. No, he has said personally Wherigos are never going anywhere, but they're very, very low on the list as far as things that they want to deal with. Right? Like they're definitely the redheaded stepchild way in the back that,
But they are now. The benchmarks are gone. Yeah, now they are.
Yeah, they were second to last. They moved down one, but
yeah, they made the top of the bottom list.
No, so I'm surprised there's not a lot more negative with Wherigos because they are a pain in the. I'll keep it clean. They're a pain in the butt. But which is why I got into them in the first place. Real short story version of that. I got into them because they're so terrible to put together and they're so hard and. It takes a lot more effort to do that than like all the other cache types. So that's why I kind of got into them because none were in my area. And I was out of town and I found one and I was like, well, how come we don't have any of these? So I had to find somebody and eventually learn how to make them. And then once you start making them and putting them out, then people eventually do it. And then I just kind of got into it and I found out how many things they could do, even though no matter how perfectly you build them, they can be clunky and stuff like that. And then over time, it just kind of snowballed, and I wanted to put more and more of them out because it takes so much effort, and a lot of people in a lot of areas they don't have very many of them. So people are like, "Oh, this is the first one in this area," and kind of got into it like that. And I've tried to sing the praises of them for a long time, even though I know people hate them, just because they can be creative, and there's a lot of things you really can do with them. In a noble
sure, I've done many fantastic Wherigos.
You're right, same here.
I mean, I found 73. That's how many I looked it up before. And I've done some great ones, some really, really cool ones. I've done some really bad ones, but I've done some really cool ones. So absolutely.
In fairness, though, I've done really bad caches of every type.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's not just Wherigos.
But most caches don't take a lot of effort and a third-party app to.
That is true. That is true. But I mean, there's third-party apps for labs and everything else now. So I mean, they are. The reason why I like them is probably the reason why most people hate them because it takes so much extra effort to do them, either to find them or to hide them. That's kind of why I like them. When it should be a reason to hate them.
That's fair enough. You know, Jasper in the chat room says, need a Wherigos 101 episode where we go step by step on how to make them. Was that show it was about or no?
We have done those before. And that was it's kind of hard to do a 101, like how to make one over a podcast, because you really need to be able to work with people live. And I've hosted events before, live in-person events where everybody comes in and we all bring our laptops and we just sit there and build Wherigos together, and you have somebody talk back and forth, because it's not extremely intuitive. If you built them before, they're not extremely intuitive on how to build them, which definitely should be updated. I mean, the technology is so far behind, but it's really hard to do it if you don't have a lot of interaction one-on-one. Once you learn how to build it from somebody one-on-one or, in a group setting, it's super easy after that. But you have to get through that initial, like, this is terrible, I don't want to do this anymore.
Well, I remember when Adventure Labs first came out, a lot of the vloggers put up like how to build an Adventure Lab step by step.
Well,
that's literally how I learned how to do an Adventure Lab.
But that's pretty automated. So you don't have any coding that needs to be done there. So all the coding is done in the background. You're just picking a location, putting in information, putting in questions. Or answer information so that it can be answered and go on from there. All the coding and everything is all in the background. With Wherigos, you got to know how to program in Lua, which is a archaic dead language that for some reason geocaching community loves, because Project GC uses that for their scripts. But yeah.
Now, there are ways to get around that. So I don't know how to program in Lua. There are plug-and-play Wherigos builders. Wherigos is one it's online, but it's only on a PC.
What's it called?
Wherigos. So it's URWIGO. I think that's out of
URWIGO.
Like Denmark, maybe.
Okay.
I remember somewhere over there.
So that was online, but it's only for a PC. So Mac people are out for that one. But there's another one called EARWIGO, Wherigos, and it's all done through the web browser. So you can build the whole thing right in the web browser.
Really?
Okay.
I forget the name of the guy that hosts it. He's from another country, but he hosts it, and he hosts the whole thing, the builder. Now, it's limited to about 5 at a time that you can be working on within your account there, and it's totally free, although like everything nowadays there's PayPal and ways to help support him, but you can do that. You can contact the guy and he'll either give you an account or not if he's full or whatever, but you can build the whole thing fully functional, every function they have online, but there's still a learning curve. But
and what is it called? What is it? What is it?
EARWIGO. Let me make sure I'm telling you right.
Wherigos.
Yeah, EARWIGO.
No.
.net.
.net. That's what
it's a .net.
It's a no. Can't be reached.
Oh, what?
EARIGO.net.
No. EARWIGO.
Oh, WIGO. Excuse me.
I don't know what that stands for.
Why? Web builder. Here we go. I'll post it in the chat there.
So once you have an account with that, if he's still accepting new people, I'm assuming he is, but you can build the whole thing right there online, and it's pretty easy. And that one comes with a whole set of instructions, like a full wiki of everything. Still takes a little bit to learn what you're doing, but it's broken down pretty easy. But again, what it comes down to is, do you want to put the effort forth to build a whole game to put out, right? It's just like, to me, I see it like putting out a gadget cache or putting out, a puzzle or something like that takes more effort than the minimum cache. It depends on what you want to do with something. But I mean, the possibilities of what you can do with them, they're not endless, obviously, because it's old technology, but there's so many things you can do that you can't really do with other caches. And I would contend that a Wherigos can do everything every other cache can, but they can't do what it does.
No, I've done some really, really cool ones, that have that take you on an adventure, more or less. There's
Yeah.
some really, really cool ones out there that exist. The problem is that, like, especially earlier back in, if you get into the, the late aughts, early teens, it was more or less you're playing Wherigos Survivor. Everybody would load it on their phone or on their whatchamacallit, their receiver, and everybody would slowly crash. And the last person left won, who still had it on their phone.
Yeah.
It was super buggy, super buggy. So that skewed a lot of people.
True a little bit.
What?
Still true a little bit.
Well,
There's
it seems
lot
like
of them out there that are like that.
the new one, I mean, for an iPhone anyway, our good buddy from Cashly built the Wherigo app, and it's actually pretty good. Yeah, pretty.
Oh no, the app works great, but some of the cartridges that are out there aren't really. They're not all built properly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've run into some that don't quite work, and I've had ones that I've built that I know were working, and then sometimes people have trouble with it. I'm like, we tested this with different people and everything else, and then 50 people will find it, and then one person will go, this zone never loaded.
Right.
And it could be some user error, but you got to think, if it happens often enough, 1 in 50, that's not, you wouldn't sell that software. I wouldn't buy that software if 1 in 50 times it crashes.
But it used to be like,
oh gosh,
9 out of 10 crashes, so
right.
I mean, I really haven't had problems with them in the last, it's been almost 8-9 years, I would say, since I've really had issues with them. But back before that, it was like, it was a game of guess who stays alive the whole time, and you'd have people running back to the start and trying to catch up, and
for sure.
I've had bike ones where you gotta like start over again on your bikes. It's like, oh come on,
I remember several times we'd have, and now I'm a phone cacher. I'm not a GPS boat anchor, big receiver cacher. I'm 100% phone cacher, but I've always done them on the phone. And I remember having 4 or 5 people, and we were all running it, just hoping one was going to make it to the end.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
One was going to not crash. We knew that. That's why we tried to get as many people as we could to do.
Yeah, Wherigos Survivor. That's what you play.
Yeah.
Right. Then you're out of the game. You just got to follow along.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They have improved since then. They have improved.
Talk to us what they can do. What different things can they do?
So, and that's what I've always tried to sell to everybody. So obviously the things they can do that everybody knows about are like, you can do a multi-stage cache, just like a multi. You can do virtual stages, like you could with a virtual or Earth cache or whatever else. In some place you couldn't put a container. But I think the fun things they can do that the other ones can't is you can add in audio and pictures along the way. So instead of having to have a physical location where somebody goes and looks at a new picture, you can put a photo in there. Not high resolution, but you can put it in there. And if it's high enough resolution to have like a QR code. So now you can have a QR code that pulls up, which if you have a QR code, you need another phone at least to scan it, right? You can add some fun with that in there. Sounds are good. There's you can make a complete audio cache. The whole cache is audio based. There's no anything else. And as you're going around, if you have headphones, you're going around, it'll tell you, you reach this zone. Now you're looking for something on your left. You got to go that way, or look for the big red sign. So you can do a lot of things that I don't know how you would manage those with any other cache type. The features that people rarely use, and we all know why people rarely use these because it puts so much effort into it. But there's timers involved where you can say, if you don't reach this part of the path, the timer's gone off. You got to start over, right?
What's it called when you bang the gopher head? Like
that. Whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole.
Yeah. Well, that's another good example. You can do hidden zones.
Yeah.
So one of the fun ones you've seen, and y'all probably played one of these too. I know there was one at a mega recently. I forget which mega it was. I think it was Going Caching. But you go out in a big field, and it's like a big virtual chessboard, and you have to go around, and you have a couple people playing, and you don't know when you're going to enter the new zone, or it can give you a proximity. Like you're in like an invisible maze, and it can start. You can set it up to where it starts beeping, like gives you a sound if you get close to the edge. And if you step out, you might have to go back to the beginning of the race, right? Or you can't find anything. You don't know when you've reached the zone. You can just kind of wander or give them clues to where it is. once you get inside it, then it indicates something and you move on to the puzzle.
Mhm.
I don't know how you would recreate that in any other cache type.
Right.
It takes a lot of effort to program that, but it can make for a really fun experience. And the story I tell often is because you can also set time parameters on Wherigos where it can only open during certain times of the day based on the clock of your phone. Well, you can make a night cache that way. And a buddy of mine built a great night cache a long time ago. It's long since been archived, but it was really spooky because you're going through this area, and when you at night when you get by a playground nearby, you can hear like ghost sounds and the swings going back and forth because it plays the sound as you go by it, and that's fun. That's a fun way to do a night cache other than just throwing a fire attack on a tree. So there's if you put all those things into it using proximity and hidden zones and sounds and pictures, like QR codes and stuff, you can really add a big experience to, a geocache as you go through the different stages and stuff. And I think those are very underutilized, not to mention just the creativity of, like we mentioned, like the fox and the bridge, and you have to go back and forth.
Yeah.
You can create whatever kind of game you want with that, like battleships and stuff like that, and really make a whole different experience besides just finding the geocache at the very end, which could be, any type of geocache. So it's just those ones that people don't use a lot, I think, is where Wherigos really shines. So when you don't see those, all you see is, well, this is just a pain in the butt. There's no point in having this Wherigos here.
Right.
Yeah, I've done plenty of those too.
Oh yeah.
Great ones. What GSN times 2 says, there's some guy in Michigan has got something, a one online. I think I don't know if it's online or not, but he says some guy in Michigan's got a builder, a Wherigos builder too. Yeah.
There's he's trying to redo it now too. It's something Fox.
Something Fox.
Wherigos Fox or no, what's his name? He's been around forever. I'm drawing a blank on it right now. It's something Fox is his geocaching name. And there's an online Wherigos builder that he's got some standard cartridges that you can build.
Ranger Fox, maybe?
Ranger Fox. Maybe that's him. Yeah. And he's got an online Wherigos one where you can build a few different types of really basic cartridges, which is what most people build anyway. Yeah, Ranger Fox. That's right. And I know there's a group of people that are trying to build some software to make it a lot easier for people to use. But that takes a lot of effort and permissions and everything else.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. And then the whole thing, you gotta upload it to the Wherigos site. It's a lot of work. It is.
Yeah, compress it, upload it in a weird file extension that nobody ever uses. I don't know what you'd use .gwz and .dwc for anything else.
Well, it's in the Unix world. It's gunzip. So our GNU zip.
You still use it?
I use it, yes.
Chad uses it. There you go, Memphis Chad.
But I work in the Unix environment a lot. So
I'm impressed. I didn't even know it was a real thing outside of geocaching.
Yeah.
It's real.
It's real.
Now there are, even if you're using all the things, there's so many steps to do it. I can see why it's a hard sell for people when you can easily just go out and throw a cache under a tree, right? And go,
we're doing Adventure Lab, which is really super easy.
So now here's the one thing that I will say over Adventure Labs. I'm not against Adventure Labs, so I'm not here to bag on them because I like every part of caching. Well, almost every part of caching, but I mean, for the most part, I just like to enjoy all of it. I can't get on board with waymarks too much, but other than that, so I'm in Florida now, but I lived in Colorado before this, and that debate kind of came up. Well, it's basically just Adventure Labs. I'm like, not in Colorado. You can't do in the mountains. You're not doing Adventure Labs. There's no signal out there. You have to. So the advantage that Wherigos does have is you can, once you have that cartridge, you don't need cell phone service anymore. As long as you can get GPS service, you can still play that game 100% from the beginning. So you can go out in the mountains way back on a hiking trip and still do a geocache back there with some extra features that you couldn't do because there's no cell service. So that is the one advantage Wherigos does have over, and more features. But I mean, you can also play it offline. which I think is a big advantage.
I'd say the Wherigos that are like a historical tour or something like that can be very easily be done as a lab cache, but there's lots of things that you can't do as a lab cache that you can do with a Wherigo, such as the battleship games. I've done an escape room like one in Gasworks Park in Seattle. I've done a bunch of very interesting ones that there's no way you could do that with a lab cache.
No, not currently with what they have on them for sure.
Right.
And again, lab caches are for in the middle of town.
Right.
You can't do them out in the middle of nowhere. So.
Right.
You can, but it's a major PIA. So as someone who's done a lot of the Highway 1, the PCH ones where, I go, it's like 20% of the area has data access. So it's like when you get that data access, you make sure you get it loaded, and then you as you go by them, you try to answer, and then the next time you've got data, it's got that cached in there, and then you can do it. It can be done, but it's a major pain to do so.
Yeah. And, labs, and I'm not bagging on labs. I'm just comparing the two. A lot of labs are just look at something and answer the question. There are some people that are doing some creative labs also, but that's more rare, just like every geocache type, right? Most geocaches are not extremely exciting. They're geocaches you go find, you have fun or whatever, but it's that smaller percentage that keeps us coming back. It's like, maybe this will be that next awesome one that I find, right? So it's just like with all of them, it's the effort that you put in. 80% of caches are not the ones that you talk about for 3 hours.
Right. Chad, how the hell do you have 668 Wherigos?
I would guess that around
450
of those
reverse Wherigo cheat sheets. Is that what it
no,
is?
not reverse Wherigo cheat sheets, but yeah, they were all reverse Wherigos. The one in the snake art,
668.
There's around 400 or so of them in that snake art that were Wherigos instead of puzzles.
I mean, I have like 73. I'm like, oh wow, that's a lot. I didn't even know I had that many. I never look at my Wherigo count.
There are some geo arts out there and power trails out there of Wherigos. It's quite possible.
668, Chad. Look at you.
There's another selling point. It's not big for me, but I have built them for other people. You can definitely condense Wherigos down. You could do many actual caches in one Wherigo cartridge for like a power trail. You open one and there could be 20, 25 in that one cartridge.
Really?
All with different containers. Yeah, it just leads you to different ones along the way. I've seen those out there before. So
what's involved? Because I've never done this before. What's involved on getting it approved and getting it set up on the GC website?
So it's actually, you're talking about just a Wherigo cartridge?
Yeah, just a Wherigo cache.
Nothing really, and that's changed over time. So I can tell you, because I'm kind of that guy that always wants to push as far as I possibly can. Like if I don't get the reviewer to say no every once in a while, I'm not pushing it far enough, right? Because you should find out what the rules are and see exactly where that boundary is and push it as far as you can. In the past, when you did a Wherigo, you built a cartridge, you uploaded it, you put a link on there. It's just like any other geocache. They would go, it's not, there's no proximity issues. You're good to go. Publish it. Now, more recent times, reviewers are actually going through, they have the software to go through and check your cartridge to make sure it doesn't do anything that would violate stuff. Let me give you some examples of stuff that would violate it.
As he would know as oh so well.
Yeah. The funniest one I had one where it was to get the final location, you had to do a random number guesser, but it was like between 1 and I don't know, 1 million. So you could theoretically keep guessing and never get it. I knew it wasn't going to get passed, but I had to try, right? And I built the cartridge, and you can do random stuff like that in there as well. So random number guessers and comparisons, and you can do like formulas in there that do math for you and stuff. But so that one didn't get passed. He goes, theoretically, somebody could guess this for the next 20 years and never get it. I'm like, yeah.
Was the answer 42? I just want to know, was the answer 42?
It should have been 42.
I have no idea what the answer is because it was different every single time.
Oh, it was random. Okay.
But and then I did another one that was it was only available 1 hour a week from on Monday night from 11 o'clock to midnight. That's the only time you can open it.
Only time you can open it. they didn't allow that.
They did not allow that. No, they didn't.
That's fantastic, though.
Well, I started off playing. I was like, I'm going to make a night cache, but I'm going to make it only 5 hours a night. So it makes it hard to do, right?
Sure.
And then I thought, well, if I do it 5 hours, why don't I just shrink it and make it harder and harder? And then maybe only one day a week. And they were like, come on, man. I'm like, don't do that. So that's when I found out later on that they could actually look in the Wherigos and see what you're doing with it.
Right.
And they do now. They'll look at it and make sure it's functional. And because think about it, you could put a lot of non-family friendly text or material in there if they're not going through and approving that. So it's good that the reviewers are actually doing that now. But the process of the whole thing is just like any other cache. You build the cartridge, you put it up on wherigo.com, and you just get a link, to the cartridge, and that's what has to be on the cache page. That's the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
That as long as you have that link where people can go and download the cartridge, then it satisfies the requirement of Wherigo, and then all the other rules are just the same.
Mm-hmm. Now, I never send that code in that you're supposed to send in. I never send that in.
I don't either. And I know a couple people that were very into that, the completion code, and it's easy to program in there. But I still haven't figured out why anybody cares about that. I don't even know. I don't even know where to track it. I don't know where it shows up on your stats.
I don't know, but I never write it down. I never send it. I'm like, okay, you want to delete my log, I guess. But
I have gotten called some bad names before for not having that code in there when I put one out at the very end of it, because I thought nobody cares. I found a bunch of them, and I've never cared about that. And you would have thought I'd have shot somebody's puppy. They emailed me and were like, what is this? And I'm like,
I think I've sent that code in twice.
You've done it more than me.
Out of the 668 times, I think I sent that code in twice to the owner. That was when I first started. I was like, oh, gotta put this in. And after that, I was like, yeah, I ain't worried about it.
Well, and it's one of those things too. Like, you have to program that in to come up with that code at the end. Mm-hmm. It doesn't automatically show up in there. You have to actually do show the completion code at the end. If you don't, it still everything still works. You just don't have it. And I would love for somebody to let me know where they're tracking those things, because I've never been able to see, I've never seen a list of how many I've ever sent in. If you go into Wherigo, you can kind of look around, but it doesn't sign on geocaching.com. So
the Wherigo site doesn't track it there.
You can see some of the ones that you've done on there or whatever, but there's no dashboard. I mean, if it doesn't show up on geocaching.com, I don't really count it as a real stat anyway. Other than FTF, that's a whole different. But it doesn't show up on Project GC, right? That's the other place in stats count.
Right.
I don't know.
Sure.
Who knows? To each his own, I guess.
No, that's just really funny that I remember I never understood that code. I've never sent it in, and no. Yeah, I guess if somebody's tracking, people track everything, right? I mean, there's so many weird stats out there. I guarantee you, if there's a way to track that stat, somebody in the world knows that they're number one at that.
Right.
Somebody knows it.
At getting the actual code.
Yeah. I have done 8,000 completion codes or whatever.
Okay. So Jesse, do you consider yourself a purist when it comes to Wherigos?
Meaning, you're going to have to define that for me.
Somebody who does it the right way every time.
No,
you're not.
No. I don't do any geocaching the right way every time.
So what do you consider? So what are your thoughts on
I will break every rule possible. I don't care. And if people don't like it, I don't care. Have I used the Wherigo cheaters before? Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was my question to you. There's many out there. There's there's a WIG-Crumbler. There is the infamous Apple one we've talked about many times in the show, WIG Helper app, that a lot of our listeners have emailed me thanking me profusely for showing them that. So they are out there, and there's also the infamous reverse Wherigo. Right. That's the one that I've used. Everyone's used that.
Right.
Yeah. I play because I play around all of those. Anytime I hear some of those, I'll go and look them up and see if they work and everything. Because it's always interesting to me. Somebody put in a lot of effort to be able to cheat through a Wherigo. Somebody had to do a lot to be able to do that. It's
You got to
like
respect
the
it.
reverse Wherigo thing. The ones that have the little numbers, which I'm not a big fan of, but I like it because people put a lot out, so people got to. That's the only Wherigo some people know. I'm not a big fan of that style. So a lot of times, if I find one of those, I'll just look it up. I'm like, I'm not playing around with this one. I don't like it that much. I usually don't even do those because they're not my favorite style of them. It's just now if I'm standing next, I don't go out of my way to do them. If I'm near one, I'm going to do it. Just like a lamppost, right? Like I'm not going to drive 10 miles to do a lamppost.
No.
But if I'm in the parking lot with one, you better believe I'm getting that smile.
Lifting that skirt. Yeah.
But am I going to not do it? That's stupid.
Yeah, sure.
But I've looked those up before. I've looked all of them up before, and I don't care. And plus, some of them don't work great. So I'm going to make sure I have backup before I miss out on something,
Sure.
I'll do that a lot too. And just like with mine, I have people that have trouble with mine. Because I've had some that have been out for a long time and I probably should rebuild them or whatever. But if they call me, I'm like, look, let me know if you want the exact coordinates. I always send them a message first. If you want the exact coordinates, this thing is messing up, let me know. Because the next message will be the exact coordinates. Go for it. I don't sit it without them asking because they'll be like, "Oh, you ruined it." But no, if that's your purist, I am not a purist on any part of geocaching at all. I try to see how I can break every rule. If
So you're all for
break a rule that's even more creative than finding like lab caches, I always try to guess those before I can find the answer. Always.
To guess it.
Like if I'm going up to a sign and it's like, how many colors did they originally have on this? I'm like 7, 6, 5.
Right, of course.
Immediately before I walk up there, my wife gets so mad because she loves the history stuff, and I'm trying to guess it fast before we get there. And
It's
I figure
7.
to do that. That's fun,
Right.
Yeah.
We do that a lot. When we're out.
Yeah, I never do the only time I ever did a multiple choice one was my airport one. I think is multiple choice, isn't it? Yeah,
it's multiple choice.
Yeah, because for everybody, Chad was just at O'Hare and he got Jesse's lab cache. He didn't go to Midway. Mine's at Midway.
Yeah, I got 4 out of 5 of them correct. The first shot. I forget which one.
It's Chicago. If anybody doesn't know, it's Chicago trivia. That's
it's Chicago trivia.
At the
4 out of 5 I actually knew, and then the 5th one was like I didn't know, and I guessed wrong.
Well done. We made them easy. We made them really easy.
They weren't hard, and they were multiple choice, so it wasn't like I wasn't going to figure it out.
Jesse, you could literally do it from the airplane. Literally do it from sitting on the plane. Like
I literally did it from the airplane, waiting to get off the airplane.
We literally geofenced the entire airport. So like anywhere, whether you are dropping someone off or whether you are sitting on a plane or whether you're in any terminal, you can do this adventure lab.
I love that. That is such a great use of lab caches.
Yeah. So it's 5 caches, 5. And the best part is that even if, oh, there you go. See, someone grabbed mine right there. And so even if you, the best part is that like, because even if you're coming through Chicago, you don't get the state,
Nope.
You get 5 caches, but you don't get the state. That's why adventure labs are great for airports.
They are. It gives you something fun to do.
But O'Hare has a virtual, so.
Yeah, you need a virtual while you're there, or you're in trouble.
Yeah, it does have. Yeah,
I already had Illinois, so
O'Hare does have a virtual. Yeah. So sorry, getting back. Sorry, totally off topic. That's why Chad's wearing a Chicago hat, ladies and gentlemen. For anybody, sorry, listeners who are listening,
got that in the airport.
Chad's wearing a Chicago, Illinois hat. He literally bought a hat in the airport. Well done.
My wife's like, why has it got rips and stuff on it?
That's right.
Because it's cool. That's why.
It's cool.
Hey, Chicago's a rough city. You made it out with the hat, though, so you're doing okay.
You made it out with the hat. He's gay, man. You lived. Good job. Sorry. So getting back. So Memphis, no problem with cheaters. You have no problem. So you have no problem if someone uses where a WIG helper and totally hacks your.
No, I assume it's going to happen anyway. I've built a lot of them, but I've built more for other people than I've built for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a question that comes up, like, how do I stop people from cheating? Now, there are ways to kind of slow that down, the cheating a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And you can work hard to try to obscure some of that information in there because they're going to pull up all the information, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can always put like a zone at the final instead of giving the exact final coordinate so they can't just pull it up. So they still have to get there and kind of search for it.
Search for it. Right, sure.
You can also kind of flood with information. So you can put a bunch of different coordinates in there. So a bunch of dummy coordinates. So that's not going to help them get the final. And there's other ways you can kind of work around it. You can put tons of pictures in there and they don't know which picture is going to be the right picture to give them the final code or whatever. But at the same time, is it worth all of that? You know, people are going to cheat no matter what in geocaching. And when I'm hiding a cache, I know that somebody's going to be able to cheat on it no matter what. People will find a way to cheat, you know.
Yeah,
the first lab caches, people were finding those from Europe before they even came out. I mean, it was like
right. Before they fenced it. Yeah, remember that?
I have no problem. Now, I don't cheat on caches I'm trying to find. I always trying to find a way to cheat on stuff, but I like the experience. So I still want to go through finding the cache. I still want to go through doing all that stuff. But I always like to play around with and find any loopholes and any weak spots I can and any of the stuff like that. But I just assume people are going to cheat on ones that I build or whatever anyway. So if you're going to take the whole fun out of it, just go get the smiley and move on. Because you can't stop them. Would I prefer everybody did it how I programmed it? Of course. But I mean, whatever, you know, I'm sure people have logged my caches that have never been there and couch logged them and I didn't catch it. So whatever, I'm not gonna cry over that. I think it kind of robs the experience. You know, there's some pretty unique experiences out there. You know, if it's your 500th power trail Wherigo, okay, crack it. Who cares? You're not going to miss anything. But, you know, if it's like a really unique one, I think you're kind of missing out on the experience. But if that's your thing, and, you know, maybe you went to more effort to crack that and find the code than you would have just going and finding it. So maybe that's what you want to do. You know, maybe you were the one that wants to guess the lab cache before you get there. If you do, go for it. That's not something I had the time to get angry about.
I would say with reverse Wherigos, at least do one.
I did one.
Get the experience. The first time experience,
it's fun. We had a great
time. It is fun. After that, it's like a skirt lifter. Especially if you figured out how to use GCC. Get 2 different points. Figure out where the 2 potential locations are. Start going towards one. If you're getting closer, that's the one you go to, and you're done. You can do it that way. But even after you figured out how to do that, at that point it's like, it's just getting the coordinates and getting there. So might as well break it.
You might as well just play through it anyway, right? I mean, it's they can be fun. Now I can see how I've been to some of them that are like they're board games or whatever. They make a big game, and if you mess up, you have to go all the way back to the beginning. I can see getting frustrated and going, okay, just give me the answer to this. I just need the final and go. You know, I've been here for an hour and a half. I'm ready to be done.
Exactly.
But you know, what's the point in worrying about people cheating it? Just go and play and have fun.
Right.
Yes. But I think one of the best things that can happen for you to get people to actually play them, getting a good number of favorite points on them. You know, it's hard to do that early on in it. But if you got a high number of favorite points on it, and someone looks at those like, hey, that might be an actual fun, interesting Wherigo to go play.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
And, you know, don't cheap out on the final container. Just because you went to all the effort to do a Wherigo, don't just throw a pill bottle under a bush. Maybe make a cool container at the end, and you may start stacking them favorite points up a lot quicker.
Yep.
All right, Chad, last 10, 15 minutes, Chad, your favorite Wherigo you've done, Chad.
My favorite, I would say, I can't remember the name of it. It was in Gasworks Park in Seattle. It was an escape room type Wherigo where you're basically going through and selecting doors and you're walking in the path and trying to get out of the escape room, and there are locked doors and different things like that. So that one was really fun for me.
Okay.
And there was a guy there painting the bay, and I was like coming up to him because that's where it was literally taking me, and you know, you're bumbling around out there with your phone when you're doing one of these sometimes, and it's like he's like, are you all right? It's like, I'm just geocaching. It's like, okay, one of those.
One of
Memphis,
those.
you, not one you've done. Your favorite one not one you've created. Your favorite one.
Yeah. That would be kind of self-promoting, wouldn't it? The best one ever is the one I made. No, the best one I've ever done is one in Boston. I don't think it's currently active or it's being redone. It's the Boston Freedom Trail. So it's one of those historic, kind of tour walkthrough, but it literally went on the Boston Freedom Trail and gave you tons of information about the actual spots, like, Paul Revere ran through, all this stuff. And it's like, this is the actual house in front of you, all this. So it was one that was one of those historical caches, but it took you to such cool places. And I think it was like a couple miles, a mile and a half. I mean, you're walking all the way around and doing it, but at no time was I bored through it. And it wasn't just like they made it just to go with something. It really flowed really well with the story they were given and the historical place they were taking you. And it was like you would pay to do that same tour. Like I guarantee you people charged for that tour. Right. And they were walking you around with it and gave you all the information. And further, they didn't just read a sign and type it in. They went to a lot of effort to do this one. And I'm not even a history nerd. And I was blown away by it. It was just awesome. It was one of the best ones. It was the best one I've ever done.
Yeah, for me, it was a cache. I did it. 2016. I think I did it. The Ultimate Goonies Adventure totally hits me as a Gen Xer. This guy put together a beautiful, beautiful Wherigos in a huge park. And the best part is if you go to the site, it's GC6RQW5. There's actually things you got to print out, like it literally takes you on the Goonies adventure. If you ever seen the movie Goonies, you got to, you have to print out the skull key, print out the landmark key, print out the music notes, and you literally go through the whole Goonie adventure using these tools.
See, that's awesome. That's a perfect use of that.
It was
right?
great. Yeah, it was real, and we did it as, I think there was 8 or 10 of us doing it, and we FTF'd it. We actually FTF'd it. And it was just a great Wherigos.
That reminds me of one. You said FTF. I got an FTF on one time, and it would have to be at the top of the ones I found. And it's a good use of Wherigos as opposed to other cache types. It was all like in the lake, so you had to boat around different locations, which you wouldn't have been able to do any other way. And you would get to this area, and there's a new zone in it. But you had to have a boat, and you had to go to multiple locations within this big lake. And the final cache was underwater. I don't know how you would have pulled that off otherwise. But it was really cool.
How far underwater was it? Like
it wasn't very far. It was like maybe 6 or 7 feet underwater. It wasn't underwater, but it was. But I don't know how you would have done this without a Wherigos. You're going to a certain location, and then out in the middle of the water is where this zone is, and then you had to. I don't remember what it was, but you had to answer something. It was like a pirate ship type theme, but you had to answer a question. If you didn't get the question right, you're not going to the next zone. So it was kind of fun the way they set it up. About 5 or 6 zones, and then you get to the final, and they're like, you're there. Just it's down.
Go down.
All right.
Nice. Chad, any others for you? Any other really good ones you could think of?
Well, he reminded me of a Clap series, a Clear Lake Area Pottle series one that I did a long time ago, where it took you to a bunch of different locations, and it was actually tied a couple feet underwater. But you're out there on a kayak with signs that literally warn you about the gators. So,
I did one in Michigan, Zombie Apocalypse. Did you ever hear this one? It's a really good one where it takes you. It's like zombies are coming kind of thing, and it literally takes you into a grocery store, and you have to go to and it talks to you about like you have to pick up supplies, and so it tells you you have to go to certain rows and certain areas of the store. The problem is that when we did it, they had just redone the store. So nothing was where it was supposed to be. It was pretty funny, but it was still a great Wherigos. Zombie Apocalypse in Michigan. It is awesome. GC4K32D.
It's so cool when a cache owner, it's like a gadget cache. Like when somebody will go to the effort, because it takes a lot of effort to build the cache that the ones we just talked about. It takes a lot of effort to build those. when somebody goes to that much effort, I think it's kind of cool.
Right.
No, yeah, it was really cool cache. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Agreed. Yeah. Like I said, we've done some amazing ones, I've done some bad ones too,
Oh, absolutely.
I was looking at my list. I have like 3 biking ones and it was all racing. You need your bike and it's racing from zone to zone to zone. If you don't hit it in time, you got to go back,
Oh yeah. Those are torture.
Those are torture. Or the running one.
Again, unique, right? I mean, you can really get creative with what you can do with it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
When I used to build them for a lot of people, and I preferred it when I did it in person or whatever, it's hard to build one for somebody like on the other side of the country because you can't really help them beta test it. And, there's a lot of, you got to go back to the drawing board. But I used to challenge people. I'm like, come to this event with your craziest idea. Anything you think we won't be able to do with this, and let's find a way to do it. Mm-hmm. And we almost always were able to find a way to work around to make whatever creative, crazy idea they wanted for it. Because you really can. It's a platform that you can do. And I'm not a programmer by any means, but you can really do some great stuff with them.
All right, Chad, anything else about Wherigos? Did we hit everything?
I think we hit pretty much everything.
Jesse, did we leave anything off?
No, I mean, I could talk about them for a long time, right? But just, I'll say stop being a wimp and go out there and try to program.
Stop being a wimp.
Yeah, quit whining and learn how to program one and just do one. You got to publish every cache type in your career, right? So just do one.
Right.
I've never published a Wherigo. I think that's the only one I haven't done.
I've published a Wherigo.
Did you really?
It was a reverse Wherigo. It's still active. It's actually in a GeoTour. It's actually in a GeoTour. It's in the 8 cache in Brazil GeoTour.
Dude, don't even tell people you did that.
Hey, I still get thumbs up on it.
Let's see. I've got a traditional, a multi, a virtual, a letterbox, an event, a mystery, a lab, a cache in, trash out. I've done almost everything.
Except for Earth cache too. Don't forget that one.
A what? Oh, an Earth. Earth. I'll never do an Earth. Earth I heard are too hard now. I heard it too hard now. It's like they get they're like. Gotta remember, dude. I'm from the Midwest. It's all
Well, depending on where you are, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. It's like you can only have so many of the same type of Earth cache. Yeah, I'm in like the worst place to live ever. I'm in the Midwest. So, all right. So, Jesse, I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes. Plug your stuff, man. Plug whatever you want. Go ahead. We are plug it.
Yeah. Obviously, we do the Geocache Talk Network. So, come see our mini podcast we have over there. If you're around Memphis this summer, we got our mega coming up. So Cache Fest, it's be our 2nd year. We'll do another one again next year at some unknown location. Other than that, if you're down here in Florida, my new home, I need a lot of new people to cache with. So it's easy to find me. It's Memphis Mafia on everything. So what I love more than anything in caching is going out caching with other cachers. So
sure.
So have you found the lovely Florida hides in the not palmettos? What are the palms, baby palms?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they're getting your hands all scratched up the hell.
Yeah, and I've actually been caching in Florida for years before I moved down here. But
okay.
Yeah, I'm still moving into our new home and finding a bunch of places that I want to hide caches, and I found some, but I'm more interested in hiding some right now. So.
And what part of Florida are you in? Where are you?
So I'm just north of Tampa.
Just north of
Tampa. Okay.
So you're on the West Coast.
Panhandle. Yeah.
Yep. West Coast, not Panhandle.
Or no, you said Tampa. I was thinking Tallahassee for some reason.
No. Yeah, we're on the West Coast there.
You're on the West Coast. Yeah.
Oh, West Coast, Tampa. Sure.
Yeah, I used to vacation in Saratoga, which is just south of Tampa.
Mm-hmm. Working my way through the state. I'll have all the counties before too long.
Really? Oh, that's a long state, man.
Yeah, I think we have 67. I'm at 40.
Oh, wow.
2 maybe now. So we're working through it.
Nice. Yeah, nice. You sure are getting there. Yeah. If you're like, wow, how long you been there for now?
Oh, we've been here a year now. As a matter of fact, a year, I think today or tomorrow. We've been here a year.
Oh, nice.
So we've done a little caching, not tons, but we've spot picked certain places and had fun with it. And most of my caching is coming up. Cache Fest, going to Georgia next week. Geo Coin Fest is down here. So there's a bunch of. I'm going on a cruise coming up, so I pick up a few more countries.
Oh,
So
nice.
most of mine's later in this year.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'll be out there in July. I'll be in Florida.
Hey, hit me up. We'll go grab some caches.
I don't know how far. I don't know how far I'm going to be from you. I'm north of.
I got a car. It's all right.
That's far, I think.
Nah, I think you're about 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
That is only 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that's Memphis Mafia, buddy. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I knew when I was doing the show, I'm like, I gotta call Memphis.
Well, thanks for having me on. I hadn't got to come to your show in a long time.
It's been a while.
Oh yeah.
So it's good to see you.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's good to see you. You are the antithesis of Wherigos. So it's good to talk to you, buddy. You be well, okay?
Thank you, sir.
You hang on. You hang on right there. Just stay right there. Chad.
Sir.
Next week. First of all, do you know how much grief I got, Chad? How much grief I got?
Over
2 weeks.
because you didn't do your
No goddamn puppet.
no puppet.
2 weeks, no puppet. I caught so much grief for this.
Hey, it didn't bother me a bit.
I know. Thanks.
That thing's
Creepy as hell.
creepy.
Creepy as hell. I'm gonna do a path tag of Kermit the Puppet. I'm gonna do a path
Awesome.
tag, a GCPC
Yeah,
path
send
tag.
me one.
Say, watch the credits. Anyway, it's like, hey, next week, Chad. You know
Mhm.
what it is. You know what month it is.
Oh yeah, cash your
It's
coffee.
Cash or Coffee next week. Jesse will be back. I might be late. FYI, Shane's got a game. It starts at 5:30. So either the show's going to be late or I'm going to be late. So we'll find out. I'll let you guys know. But yeah, Cash or Coffee next week, Chad. That's what's going on next week. So, guys, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Yeah, Udex is no female perspective. No, Jesse is out of town. So we've got Jesse Memphis here. We had our what'd you call it? The hold on a second. I'm bringing you back in. What did you call yourself, Jess? The
Consolation.
Consolation Jesse. Thank you. All right, back on mute. Shun. Okay, so we have got the Consolation Jesse on the show tonight. Thank you so much, buddy. And that's about it. We'll talk to you guys.
Oh,
wait.
One piece of news because
One piece of news?
people have been asking
Throw that out of nowhere. So.
how's the search going?
We talked about this last week.
No, we talked about
we talked.
this.
It wasn't on the show.
It wasn't on the show.
Sorry. Sorry. Memphis Chad's been
um,
unemployed for a little while, and it's become a hot topic on this show.
So
Chad's employment somehow.
the day after the last show that we talked about it, which is basically 3 weeks ago, I got an offer from AMD, and I actually start on Monday.
Oh, how about that? Chad got a job. Yay. Is it good money?
It's good money, and I will be working from, even though my team and the team that I work with are all in Austin, Texas.
Yes,
they want me to work from home, so
they want you to work from home. Can you do that full time from home, Chad?
I did it for the last 3 years.
Full time, and did you enjoy it? But
I
like going to the office.
I like going to the office and interacting with people, but I got used to it. Now the one of the differences is here I will only know all the people over
You'll know your people. Yes.
Right.
I understand that. Yeah.
So
wow.
But maybe they'll fly me out there a bit, and we'll see.
I worked from home for over a decade. I was like, I'm done working from home. I don't like it anymore. I do it like twice a week now.
The commute's great, but
yeah, but it's like I don't know. I need people. Especially after COVID. I need people.
Really?
So well done, sir. Congratulations. Chad got a job, guys. How about that? He's back in the land of employed. He's with us again. He's not a freeloader anymore. Well done. Have you started officially?
I've got my laptop here, but I officially don't start until Monday.
Is it a Mac or a PC?
It's a PC. AMD doesn't make processors for Mac.
How dare you?
Why not?
Mac left Intel a couple of years ago, and they're making their own processors based on ARM cores, and having another company manufacture it for them.
Did you ever hear back from Apple? Did they ever get back to you and say no?
I got
A form letter.
I got a letter that basically said that they loved my skill set, yada yada yada, but they decided to go with someone else.
That's because you walked in there with an Android phone, dude. That's why.
They couldn't see my Android phone. We did it all over video conference.
They knew.
They probably knew. They could probably tell because when I would go on their site to apply for jobs, I would say I'd have to put in there I didn't get the message, and send it to me via text.
Right,
I
and then
expect you to have an Apple product
in green and not blue. Yeah, that's why.
And it just come across your Apple device.
They saw the green bubble and they went, you know what? Nope, not happening. Sorry, kid. Sorry, you're FSOL. Sorry, kid.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Nah, you can't work for Apple. You could have worn a sombrero in your picture.
Probably could have.
All right, guys. Cash or coffee next week. Memphis, thanks so much for joining us, buddy. Chad, well done, sir. Congratulations on getting a job and being employed again. Hope you enjoyed your little vacation there from
my mini vacay.
Your little
9 weeks.
Your fun employment. Is that what it is? Fun employment?
Yeah.
Was it 9 weeks?
It was 9 weeks.
Oh man.
Well, 6 weeks until I got the offer. 9 weeks till I was actually back to employed.
Okay.
That was long enough.
Well, I know. Dude, I was freaking 10 months or something like that when I was unemployed. Long time. During COVID.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. There you go. Wherigos. Cash coffee next week. Thanks, guys.
Right.
Please join us again every Wednesday night at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central as we stream live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and on our website, geocachingpodcast.com. The archived video versions of our podcasts are available on our website or on our YouTube channel, and the audio versions are available wherever you find your favorite podcasts. If you like the show, please head on over to Apple Podcasts and rate, review, and subscribe. We really appreciate it, and it really helps the show when you do. If you prefer to watch the show, make sure you click that subscribe or get notified buttons to know exactly when we go live. And hey, if you haven't already, please consider becoming a patron of our show. With tiers starting as low as $5, you will get a ton of additional information, extra video, extra audio, only available to our patron members. Please head on over to patreon.com today and subscribe. That's patreon.com/thegeocaching-podcast. Thanks once again to our sponsors, Cashly, Logwork, FTF Geocacher Magazine, the Max Odds Body Company, Practical Geocaching, Arty Crafted, PatTags.com, Geocaching Adventures LLC, and GeoGo. Please visit our sponsors, and when you make a purchase, you tell them the GCPC sent you. That's all we got this week, so we'll see you next week talking geocaching, taking your phone calls. In the meantime, be good, be safe, hug your loved ones, and we'll talk to you guys next week. And we're clear. There you go, guys. Thank you so much. So get this, Chad.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, guys. So I have a bottle of Niagara water here, right? It's a Target brand or whatever. I'm reading it as I'm listening. I'm reading this thing. It says, warning. This is what it literally says on the bottle here. Warning, cap is a choking hazard, particularly for children. They have to put that on the bottle. Now, the funny thing is my kid chews on the cap constantly. My kid always like, I'm like, what's your mouth? He's like, a cap. I'm like, get the cap out of your mouth, dude. Like, it literally says it on the, so enough kids have choked on this to put it on the bottle.
Well, enough people have sued for it.
Yeah, it really doesn't give you faith in our
world we live in right now. This
is
the
you have to say, don't eat this. That's. Yeah.
They gotta
I'm surprised our pencils don't have. I'm surprised our pencils don't have.
Don't stab anyone.
It's like
this is a lethal weapon.
This is a lethal weapon. If you do not jab into your eyeball.
Do not stab people with your pencil. Dude, I've done that back in junior high. I got a piece of lead stuck in me because somebody stabbed me and went like that, and I got lead in me.
Yeah, it still happens all the time.
Oh, I've stuck them into acoustic tiles. But the fun one was in drafting classes and would take our eraser shields and and throw them into the acoustic tiles.
Cap is a choking hazard. Really, it's a joke, particularly for kids.
You know, although this is going to make me sound terrible, but the only time I do worry about that is I have a dog that likes to chew on the water bottles.
Yeah.
So we buy him like $1,000 toys, $1,000 worth of toys. There's toys everywhere in the house, and he wants to chew on a water bottle. I'm like,
that's right.
Seriously.
Yeah. Does your water bottle say Cap is a choking hazard? Look at yours.
Let's see.
Does it say it? Is it just Niagara?
It does indeed. Warning: Cap is a small part and poses a choking hazard, particularly for children.
No way. Yours. And what is your brand?
And this is just Kroger brand, like generic water.
Wow, that is insanity. I never noticed that before.
It's probably the same manufacturer, just a different label because
right.
they're selling one to Walmart and one to
They're
Kroger.
all out of the same, the same
or Target. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's water. Nobody really has a patent on water, so it's just
I know.
ingredients water. So
Water. All right, guys. Cash or coffee next week, guys. We'll talk to you guys. Be well. Everybody be well. Be safe. We'll talk to you guys soon.